Our next video and section here is all about how the game works with progression, what saves and what doesn't, and when you should just end a run because you're just dying too much. So let's try and answer the question of what saves permanently and what doesn't. So regardless of where you are in your run, if you've gone back to the squats or are restarting at the club, whatever it is, what's going to be there for you. What's going to be there for you in terms of your shrine upgrades, your age, your starting age, things like that. So note that starting age for hideouts permanently saves. So if you get to the club at 20 in a run, you'll always be able to go back to the club and play it at age 20. You have the option to permanently unlock skills in the skill tree, and when you make all those installments and you do permanently unlock it, that's there for you on any run. Wherever you start, you'll always have those skills there for you. But know that you do have to unlock the move each run before more payments. So when you start a run, you always will have to pay to unlock it, and then you can start making more installment payments to permanently unlock it. Your detective board will permanently save in between runs, or if you restart runs, so you never have to worry about that. You'll always have those keys and key cards, etc. One interesting thing about permanent saves and saves between hideouts or shrine upgrades, where I think I understand what's going on, but maybe y'all can help me out in the comments section. So of course shrine upgrades are going to continue from hideout to hideout, so if you increase your health gained on takedowns at the squats, you can increase it even more at the club. But it also seems to me, and this is what I need folks' help on, is if you have certain shrine upgrades when you get to a hideout on your best run or your lowest age, even if you give up, you quit, you permanently die, and then you go start that hideout again, those shrine upgrades from your best run, or basically your run where you got there with your lowest age, will be there. So I do think some shrine upgrades permanently save, but it's only the ones that are from the run in which you got to that level at your lowest age. But that means that you've given up or you completely died, and then those shrine upgrades are there for you. But let me know what you think in the comments section. I'm still a little baffled by this. So hopefully you're still sticking with me. And what this means is if you want better shrine upgrades when you enter into the museum, let's say, well, that means you need to go back to the club or go back to the squats, upgrade your shrines as you like, and then you have to still get to the museum at your youngest level or they won't save for you there. So hopefully that tells you what permanently saves. I know it's a little complicated. We've talked about what permanently saves. We're going to talk about what saves between hideouts on a run. So what I mean by that is what doesn't permanently save as you progress. So before I get into that, let's talk real quick about what's a run again. So a run is when you start wherever you start from and you progress from hideout to hideout. So a full run would be starting with the squats, ending at the end, right? That would be a full run, but you can start your run from any hideout. And when you start from any hideout or from the squats and start fresh, that's when you're going to have your permanent saves, but there are some things you won't have. So what this means for shrine upgrades is wherever you start your run, you'll have the shrine upgrades from your youngest age when you got to that level. And then as you progress, of course, you'll sort of keep those from one hideout to the next, however you decide to progress. But you have to beat the level at your youngest age, and those will be the shrine upgrades that permanently save there. The less complicated thing that doesn't permanently save but does save between hideouts are your skill tree unlocks. So if you unlock chasing trip kick in the club, it'll be there, of course, when you progress to the museum on that run. But if you restart a run, you die or give up, then those unlocked skill trees won't save. They won't permanently save unless you've permanently unlocked them, which I went over a little earlier. So putting this differently, the question is, well, what erases when you start a new run, you die, or you give up? And so new runs erase your shrine upgrades unless you had those upgrades when you beat the last hideout at your youngest age. and of course it erases anything that's not permanently unlocked in your skill tree. It's a lot. You're doing great. Let's move on to the next thing. So here's what I can figure out if you exit to the main menu or like turn off your PlayStation. So what will happen is you can pick right up where your last run ended. So if you've gotten to the tower and then you go to the main menu, you'll have the option to continue back at the tower with whatever shrine upgrades and unlocks you have then. That said, if you exit to the main menu in the middle of a hideout, then your progress in that hideout won't save. So if you exit to the main menu right before you get to Sean at the club, you're going to have to totally restart the club to get back to Sean. Now that we've talked about how the game works with death and aging, what saves and what doesn't, you may get to this point where you're so old, you're not as far as you'd like to be, and you want to call it quits. So when do you call it quits on a run? Well, the answer is it really depends. If you're still really learning a boss's moves and scouting out, if you're still amassing XP to permanently unlock moves, you're learning a hideout, whatever it is, you should never call it quits. Just keep playing. Everything as an opportunity to amass XP and to learn the moves of different fighters. Now, if you feel like you've learned everything, you've unlocked all of the moves, then yeah, you might want to call it quits when you get to a certain age because you're just not where you need to be to beat the game. One rule you can kind of go by is that there's 5 bosses and 5 pendants, but ideally early on you're breaking very few pendants and like the squats like no pendants, and then maybe you break 2 as you get towards the end. But that's really it. That's what we think about when we think about progression and when to call it quits. I hope this has helped you think about all of that, and thanks for watching. And just remember, as soon as I start making a single dime from my YouTube videos, 50% of what I make will go to a charity that we choose as a subscriber community. So all the more reason to spread the word, like, and subscribe.